DreamWorks attempts its first live-action film with How to Train Your Dragon, but does it capture the magic of the original animated classic or fall short? Let's get started with my review of the live-action version of How to Train Your Dragon. Let's go. What's going on, all my beautiful people? This is Jacey, and I just finished watching the live-action DreamWorks How to Train Your Dragon. Before I do start my review, please note this will be a spoiler-free review, just in case you haven't seen it yet, showing in theaters this weekend. Also, please make sure that you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on more new live-action movies that I'm reviewing just like this. So How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action version, stars Mason Thames, Gerard Butler, Nick Frost, and more. So the live-action How to Train Your Dragon retells the same heartwarming story from the original 2010 animated movie. Hiccup is a young Viking who's supposed to follow in his tribe's footsteps and hunt dragons. But of course that changes when he meets a Night Fury dragon, which is one of the most rarest and unknown of its capabilities among his people. And from there you get a nice little dynamic between a owner and a pet. So if you guys are watching this because you have seen the original and you're curious to see how the live action adaptation fares up to the original, let me just tell you, this was such a joy. The new movie doesn't really rewrite the plot much at all, and it keeps most of that same story, but it heightens those scenes and makes the whole film come to life, especially with the major moments in the movie. And it adds a little bit more detail and length with about 27 minutes extra of the film. And honestly, that's a good thing. When a story already works this well, there's no need to reinvent it. I guess that's been my biggest worry and my biggest concern when it comes to a lot of the Disney live action remakes. They either alter the story a little bit too much, or they try to be a little too modern with the take, or they just switch around things because they want to make a statement. And I get it. Things are different in modern times, but when you alter a classic story from a classic film, I mean, why fix what ain't broken? So instead, this version of DreamWorks' live action How to Train Your Dragon gives us the same emotional beats with a few extra touches that make it feel richer and deeper. Now let's get into the acting, because I feel like this is one of the highlights of the movie as well. But the acting in this version is top tier. Mason Thames, who plays Hiccup, brings a lot of charm and energy to the role. At first, when I saw that he was going to play Hiccup and replacing Jay Baruchel, who did the voice of the original, I thought that'll be very interesting to see if he captures that same empathetic feel and a lot of that innocence, because in Jay Baruchel's voice, he cracks a little bit and gives off this earnest type of vibe when you hear his voice, and it really fit that character. But with Mason Thames, he gives his own take on the character and he does a great job. He feels younger and more playful than Jay Baruchel from the original, which actually makes sense for the character. He nails the awkward, funny, and brave sides of Hiccup, especially during a gross yet hilarious scene involving a fish and Toothless. I didn't actually think they were gonna go there when it comes to this live action, but they did, and it was pretty funny. Now the twins who play Snotlout and Roughnut actually do a good job in capturing those twins, capturing that goofy vibe that you kind of seen from the animated version, and it's almost scary how spot on they are for sure. Nick Frost steps into the role of Gobber, and he does a pretty good job, I would say. He doesn't really stand out in this movie, but he does a good enough job for the film to keep going. He gives some comedic moments that are pretty funny, and it's surprising to see him in a lot of that makeup. Now, the real surprise here, or at least I should say not really a surprise, is Gerard Butler returning as Stoic. I mean, I felt like in the original animated film, that was Gerard Butler. So when they first announced that they were going to cast him as a live action version of Stoic, I thought, well, yeah, that makes sense. That's perfect. And Gerard Butler in that animated film, I felt like was playing himself. And in this movie, he goes all in with his performance. It for sure works. His costume, hair, and overall look help him deliver both strong and emotional moments. He exemplified bringing that character to life in live action. Everyone in the cast seems to be on the same page, slightly exaggerated, but totally fitting for this fantasy world. Now, one of the ones I would say that I wasn't too crazy about, but she doesn't do a bad job, is Nico Parker playing Astrid. I just felt like she could have gave a little bit more emotion to that character, but she didn't do a bad job either, and it's not noticeable at all. Now, one of the other things that we do have to talk about is the score and visuals. The best things about this live action version, though, is for sure how it looks and sounds. John Powell returns to score the film. He did the score for the originals, and the second the music starts, it pulls you right back into that world of Burke. The soundtrack is powerful and emotional just like before. There's certain scenes that I felt like were given a lot of oomph when it came to the score because of John Pell. And as far as how the movie looks, it's stunning. Cinematographer Bill Pope captures everything in crisp, rich detail. From the cozy Viking huts to the wide, beautiful landscapes and the flying scenes, man, they're amazing. They're captivating. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen once those scenes started coming in. And one of the things I recommend you guys doing is please watch it on IMAX, because watching Toothless soar through the sky on that huge screen, it felt like you were just riding along with it. For a second there, it felt like I was on a 4D ride. The dragons themselves look great too. They've been updated to fit a more realistic world, but they still keep some of their fun and animated style. Toothless especially still has that cute and expressive face, which helps him stay lovable and full of personality. And hats off to Dean DeBlois. He is the original writer and director, and his return really makes a difference. He knew exactly what to keep the same and what to slightly adjust. This remake doesn't feel lazy or forced. It feels like a celebration of what made the first movie special, with just enough polish to make it feel fresh. Now here are my final thoughts, you guys. Going into this, I wasn't sure we needed a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie. The animated one is already a classic to me, but by the time the credits rolled, this film completely won me over. The story still hits hard, the visuals are breathtaking, and the acting is mostly solid all across the board. This movie proves that when you treat the source material with care and bring back the right people, you can actually make a live action remake that feels worth it. With all that being said, you guys, I'm gonna give the live action How to Train Your Dragon 4 out of 5 flames and a fire film rating.
It's good. It's good.
This is a fantastic movie. It respects the original, adds just enough new flavor, and delivers a fun, emotional ride. I highly recommend you checking this out this weekend, especially on IMAX. It's gonna look beautiful, and you're gonna thank me later, trust me. Alright guys, so have you seen this film yet, or are you looking forward to seeing it? Do you think this was better than the original classic? Let me know in the comments below. Last thing before I do go, you guys, please make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date. My name is Jacey, and until next time, I'm out.